Thank you, Jesus, for another great day. Let's get into the video. Good morning. We're back here on a Saturday. We're going to finish putting the face frames onto the cabinet shelves. I think yesterday we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We got 10 of them on. And we got the pantry on, which is harder just because it's so tall. And the Lazy Susans, which they're not difficult, but you're trying to put 2 dados into an L, which is a little bit difficult. So we just pretty much have the uppers left to do. We do have this, the only hard one left is, let me show you here, this corner cabinet where I need to 45 cut on the table saw these ends, and then I need to dado out the back of the face frame to fit into that 45. And it's a little bit difficult, but we've done it enough that I've kind of made the best way, or figured out the best way to do it. So it's not challenging, but it takes a little bit of time. So yeah, let's get to doing that. We have to put the skins on the bottom part of these uppers to cover up, here I'll show you, these Kreg jigs. And then after that, we'll just double check these uppers and make sure that they're doing what they're doing. We'll also, I've been double checking the shelves here in there just to make sure when we get on site, everything fits. Just because the math says it's one way, sometimes it doesn't always do what it needs to do. So we just like to double check everything. So that way when we get to the job site, there's no issues. And yeah, and then I'll probably measure for doors next. And then I can put all the skins on all the cabinets. After that, we can install the drawer boxes. And then I think that's pretty much everything. So yeah, let's get to finishing up these face frames, put them onto these cabinet shelves. I have this face frame dadoed out on both sides, and it sort of seeds into the left and the right hand side. And again, that's why that bottom and the top piece are recessed in 1/8 of an inch, because the dado, we make 1/8 of an inch deep, so that way everything can just seed in there perfectly nice and tight. We do have to glue that, and then we'll screw it all in there. But the reason why we do 1/4 on some, 1/2 on some, is this side of the cabinet butts up to another side of the cabinet, so it's never seen, so we don't need a skin there. This side though, it will be seen, so you want to put a skin or a side panel there, and they're 1/4 inch thick, so that's why it's 1/2 inch. That way we have 1/4 inch skin, and then we have 1/4 inch of gap, so that way then everything looks super uniform in the whole kitchen. So yeah, let's get to gluing this, screwing this, and then we can double check everything. When you're gluing it, you just want to make sure you have enough glue, but not too much glue, because you don't want it to squeeze out inside of the cabinet shell here. You can always wipe it off, but if you don't see it, you forget to wipe it off, then you have an issue. It's all clear coated inside of here, so it's not going to absorb in there, and it comes off pretty easy, but it's just one thing that can happen. Make sure it seeds in there. We do dry fit it before we put the glue to make sure it fits. And then I'll come over here, and I'll always start with the skin side because it's the most important to make sure it's perfect. And then I'll line it up on the bottom, and I'll screw it in. As I go, I'm just making sure, I'm kind of feeling to make sure a screw doesn't pop through or do anything terrible. And then I'm using my eyes, but I'm also feeling, because you can tell when the face frame sort of sucks down. We're going to put a straight edge on it to make sure the face frame's running true. But you can alleviate a lot of problems by just feeling. Just to make sure the face frame does suck down. I'm also going to work the screw down. I'm not going to put them at the ends and work in the middle, just in case the middle gets humpy. I don't want that. I want to work it down so it sucks down evenly. We also set the Kreg jig machine up in a way So that way these screws will come flush here, but it's not too deep to where they can pop through. Once in a while, they can pop through. It just, if the bit gets a little loose, but I would argue 99% of the time they won't pop through, and especially if you're just paying attention and going slow. This drill driver from Milwaukee, cabinet drill driver, with this sort of, I don't even know what you call this, extension. It comes with 4 of them. It comes with a normal drill, more of an impact one, a right angle bit, and then this one. And it really works well for these Kreg jigs along with this Kreg jig bit to get up in here and get your Kreg jigs in there straight so that that way they can become super flush. It also doesn't have a chuck, so it wouldn't matter. This is the top, so sometimes you would see the top and we would skin that then, but these butt up to a bulkhead, so you'll never see the top, but it doesn't scratch the material, which is super nice. Now that we have all the screws in, I'm gonna grab our straight edge here. I'm just gonna make sure that the sides are running straight, and they are. And then I'll double check width, height, depth, and then along with the shelves. And then also the skin placement, just to make sure I didn't make a mistake, no one made a mistake, and when we get to the job site, we won't have a headache. So 33 by 30, 12, 12, 12, 12, and the skin is on the left-hand side. It's number 2. The other thing I do here is, on the uppers, I like to make the face frame wider because we're going to put a piece of crown trim up there. So I just want a little bit of room. So that way, because the ceilings or bulkheads are never level, so that way I don't have to be fearful of that. I have enough room for the crown, I have enough room for my gap, and I have enough room for my doors to come up. And then I do that in any other area in the kitchen on the left or right hand side that's tight in a blind corner situation. This one doesn't. This job has 3 Lazy Susans, so I don't have to worry about that. But the last job had a blind corner, and I don't want the drawers, the doors to hit, the handles on the drawers to hit. I don't want anything to hit. So yeah, that way then I still have enough room for the overlay of the hinge, and everything just works how it should work. Then again, everything is labeled, so this cabinet is number 2. If this was a lower, it could have drawer boxes. This is an upper, obviously, so it doesn't, but the drawer boxes would be labeled the same as the cabinet. The shelves are labeled the same as the cabinet. The doors are labeled the same as the cabinet. Everything that goes with the cabinet is labeled the same as the cabinet, so that way when we get to the job site, we can just install. We don't have to be looking, searching. We can just be more efficient, and then everything is just, we know it's there, we can check it off, and we can just install things. Those fit really good. This job doesn't have as many shelves. A lot of jobs have probably between 30 and 40 shelves. This job has, I think, 18 shelves. And most of our cabinet jobs are probably 20 to 30 cabinets for a kitchen. This is only 15. But the last job we did had 18 cabinets, and I think they had maybe 32 shelves. But the reason this job doesn't have as many shelves is these are only 30-inch tall cabinets, so we do 2 shelves. When you start getting up to maybe 36, 38 inches, I add an extra shelf. So that's one reason. The uppers only have 2. They do have a pantry which adds, I think I made six shelves for that. But none of their lowers, there is one Lazy Susan that has shelves, but most of the cabinets in this job are lowers. And there's only one, that Lazy Susan, that has shelves. All the others have, the other 2 Lazy Susans have Lazy Susan units. And the rest of their lowers, like the sink doesn't have one, obviously. There's a drawer stack, which doesn't have any shelves. And then the rest of the cabinets have pullouts, so there's no shelves in there. I think there's only 7 uppers. One of them's a fridge, and it's pretty short, so there's no shelf in there. So that's why there's just not that many shelves in this job. What I'm gonna do is put find, and again, it's labeled so that way it's just easy, but the bottom skin on to hide all these Kreg jigs. And number 2. That one's number 2. We just use this Max Strength contact adhesive and we'll spray it on. I probably put too much on. I'd rather put too much on and not have an issue than not put enough on and save a little money. I just want to put quite a bit on, let it tack up, and then I don't have to worry about anything. I spray this side, the part on the cabinet first, because it's UV'd or clear coated, so the glue won't dry as fast or tack up, whereas the bottom side of this material, it's only one side UV. This inside part is not UV'd or clear coated, so the glue sort of soaks in and it tacks up a little faster. So I'll spray it a little bit heavier to sort of have that be ready the same time this is ready. It's just a little thing, but I think it can make a difference. While that's tacking up, I'm going to find the next cabinet, which is number 3. I'll get it sort of ready, and then I'll put this on, and then we'll go dado the face frame, glue, screw the face frame, make sure it's running true, level, plumb, make sure it's running correct, double check it. We'll just do this whole process again until all of these uppers are done, and then I'll deal with that corner cabinet. It's been maybe a minute or 2, the glue's tacked up, and if we measure it correctly, it should just slide in just like that. It's still tight, so everything looks good, but it's not too tight that we're having to pound and break anything. So I'm just gonna push evenly all the way around here. It's making like a chemical bond, so you can feel one sign of a chemical bond is a temperature change, and it gets cold. So that means it's working well. Then again, I'm just pressing with even pressure all the way around. When I do the front part, it's all Kregged and screwed and glued, so it's fine. But I don't want to blow this face frame out here. So I'm going to come in here and press from both sides. Making sure everything is contacting and everything is secure. And then yeah, that's a finished cabinet. That's the top, this is the bottom. And it's ready to go over there and then get measured for doors. I'm going to keep working on these. All right, so I have this corner cabinet almost done. As you can see, I 45 cut these left and right sides of the cabinet, and then I dado cut into the face frame. I also 45 cut this, so that way when the next cabinet butts up to it, that's a 90, it'll equal our 135 degree corner area, and everything will fit perfectly. This is the bottom, so I need to fit this panel into there, and all I did was I just took my dimensions, traced them onto here, cut this on the table saw, cut this 45 on the table saw, cut this 45 on the table saw. Now I still need to contact cement this, but I dry fit this and it'll fit pretty much perfect. So let's contact cement this, put this in, and this cabinet will be finished. All right, this piece went right in. I just need to push it down, make sure the glue on the panel is contacting the glue that's on the shell. Make sure this is perfect. And then after that, I think I have to double check one thing on the Lazy Susan. The other thing, we'll double check these shelves. Cabinet that CNC cut wrong. So I'm going to attempt, which I'm pretty sure I can do, cut it out by myself with the dado piece right here. So I'm just going to make a 30-inch piece, which this is, dado it out myself, drill the holes for the shelves. That last cabinet's done, and then we'll go and I think we'll measure for the doors next. That's the next step. This was the piece that was bad. The CNC just cut it pretty bad, so all I had to do was just pretty much replicate that piece, but in the correct way. So I just dadoed out right here, dadoed here, at the 1/2 inch down, 1 inch up, just like the other side. That was good. Then I just drilled the the holes for the shelves, matching the other sides. That way everything turned out good. Everything measured out correctly. That wasn't that hard, took about maybe 10 minutes. Just used the dado blade over here on the table saw, did some measuring. I will say, thank goodness for the CNC, cutting out all the other pieces, because if I had to do that for the left, the back, the right, all the sides, it would take a day, 2 days. CNC can cut everything in 5 hours, maybe 5 hours. So thank goodness for this. Now let's get that face frame on that cabinet and check the shelves. And then I think instead of measuring doors, we're going to put the skins on. And then if I have time today, I'll measure for doors, or tomorrow I'll measure for doors and then install the boxes. So I got the whole shop cleaned up, ready for tomorrow, which is Sunday, or for the guys on Monday. But all the face frames are on the cabinets. All 15 cabinets. Shelves are done, face frames are done, everything's double checked. The shelves are double checked. The drawer boxes over here have been double checked. They're ready to go into the cabinets. The next thing is we have to put all these skin side panels on. Those are all the uppers. Those are all the lowers. We have to cut out the toe kick on the lowers. But those need to go on. And then after that, I can measure for the doors. I can get our order for the hinges, things like that. And then after that, they're all ready to be installed. I think Monday we're going to finish, or I'll try to finish most of these tomorrow. We'll start building the doors Monday. Tuesday we'll tear out. Wednesday we'll install. Then we'll install and drill the doors, drill the handles after that. But yeah, this project's coming along great. Everything's double checked. Yeah, it's going along great. All right, well, I'm going to put these skins on, start it. And then I think tomorrow I'll finish putting the skins on. So yeah, have a good Saturday. I'll see you tomorrow on Sunday while I'm putting these skins on.